بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير، ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني وشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. This is actually like a follow-up session from last Sunday, because I understand that the internet connection. I know that the internet connection was not very strong, right, last Sunday, right? So this past Sunday, so I'm just doing a like a redo of this session, right, just to make clear certain points, and also I plan to just answer some questions and maybe go through a bit of the quiz, right? So for those of you who have I hope you all have time to look into this session and just to understand this part. So last Sunday we actually only did about discharge. I actually had high hopes of doing the next chapter, right, on the age of menses, its length and its colors and its characteristics, right? But we spent the entire time doing we did go through the questions from the previous lesson, right? But we spent most of the time doing discharge, right? Because I know it is and it's not something to take lightly, right? It is a matter that has bothered many women, right? And it has led to some women being over obsessive, about the discharge, right? And and basically obsessing about it more than what is required by the religion, right? And then there are women on the other end who are completely complacent about their discharge, right? And then just walking around in najis, right? And having their wudu nullified and not really bothering about it, right? So basically, we need to find clarity in the middle, right? So not to either extreme, not to the extreme of being obsessive and compulsive, wanting to every single time gotta wash, gotta wash, gotta wash, yourself, or not on the other end of complete negligence, right? But rather taking the path of knowledge, right, from and taking a middle path, that is the way of our religion, right? So I went through. So I'm just going to read through the slides that we have here, and it's going to clarify a few things, right? If you need further clarification, right, you can always go to the Padlet, right? So all questions are to be posted on the Padlet, right? And from the Padlet you will be able to post your questions and for me to clarify. I will open up Padlet in a while also after I've gone through this, right, just to answer some of the questions that are there. Okay, right. So Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So discharge from the womb, basically of two types, right? So basically, these fluids, right, there are two types. The first type is from the outer region of the privates, right? And I actually gave the diagram, right, of the womb. Right, if you look in the diagram of the womb, right, you will find that the womb has several parts to it, right? So if I were to draw, can I draw using this thing? I can draw. Right, if I were to draw here, right? So if I draw the private, so this is the womb, right? This is the top part of the womb, right? And then it goes to the fallopian tubes, right? And then the womb goes like this. It has like this lah, basically, right? And then there is a neck here, right? Basically, and then you have this area, right? Right, this area like this. Let me undo this. Right, this area that goes like this, like that. Okay, so basically here is where, like you say, your menses forms, and here is where the baby, if a woman is pregnant, the baby will develop here in this region right here, right? Then so if you just wanna just know it's only one color, is it? Oh no, there are other colors. Okay. Okay, so if I use yellow color, right? So okay, just to show that this is where her legs start from. Okay, sorry for the drawing, but just to show, okay, the legs start from there. Right. So basically, I'm use blue, right? Blue. Right. So when you istinja, you're doing istinja here. Istinja means what? Istinja means to wash. So when you go to the bathroom, right, and you urinate or you defecate, right, you're gonna wash yourself. This is called istinja. Istinja is basically to wash the privates after going to the bathroom. For women, we have three openings, right, down there. Right, we have three openings. Unlike men, men have two. They just have two openings. The same opening where urine comes from is the same opening where their sexual fluid or their sperms come from. We're learning fiqh, so there's directness in fiqh. And then the other openings, of course, where the feces comes from. And for women, we actually have three. Right? We have a separate opening, right, where urine comes from. Then we have a middle opening, right, whereby the blood, right, comes from, or babies come from, basically. Right, and a back opening where feces come from. Right, so when you do istinja, right, you are to wash these openings, and when you wash where it's basically it's the vagina, right? This will be the vagina. And when you wash the opening here, right, just to mention something that you need to wash inside a little bit. Right, so basically the tip of your finger, just the tip of your finger. Your finger has like three parts to it, right? There's a tip and then there's a middle part, and there is an end part that is connected to the hand, right? So there are like two joints in your finger, right? There are basically two main joints, and it is broken into three parts, right? So the edge, right, the top part of your finger, that just to dip it, to stick it into your privates a little bit. It's not gonna hurt. Come on, like, your finger is not that big. Like, you just put a bit of your finger in, and you wash. Is it necessary for you to wash the discharge that's here? Right? This is something that I just realized a lot of people don't know, that you should be washing this part, right? Don't be obsessive about it, but wash it, right? So just wash it through, and then khalas, you're done, right? Of course, this part is you can't do the washing if you're fasting, because if you stick your finger into your privates when you're fasting, it will cause your fast to be nullified, right? It will be invalid, it'll be nullified. But basically, there's a bit of part to wash there. Okay, let me just undo this blue thing. Okay, so basically, right, tamam. Right, so basically, just to speak about where the discharges are coming from, right? So I'm gonna use, I used the wrong color just now. Shouldn't use. Okay, I'm gonna erase this yellow part there. Okay, okay. I want to use yellow as the discharge, right? Okay. So that around here, nah, not yellow lah. I use blue. Sorry, I'm gonna show it's pure. Around here there are glands, right? Just on the inside of your vagina, there are glands here, right? And these glands produce is basically discharge, right? This is natural. This is what you say the outer regions. So the blue one I will point to outer regions. Okay, outer regions is counted as the blue part here. Right, they form here basically. They just form there, and they have their characteristics. That they're light, right? They come in clots. If they stay long enough, they can clot up. They become clots and they come out. They're white or they're colorless. Like, they're very very little. Like, they're basically like a moisture there just to keep you healthy, and you can walk around without feeling pain. They kind of, you would say they're like saliva. It's like saliva in the mouth. They're always there. It's always there, right? But and I will go through in this lesson, right, the different traits, like, of that fluid. Okay, if you go further up this is called, basically, I think it's called the cervical canal. I think it's called the cervical canal. That is the vagina over there, right? I think the whole thing is called the vagina. I don't know which part is called what. But basically, this is the part, right? Whereby and I apologize, but whereby with intercourse, that is where the male enters, right? The male enters here, right? Nobody goes into your womb. The only one who's ever in your womb is your baby, right? So sometimes people worry that if they put something, into their into their privates, they will go into their womb. No high chances nothing goes into your womb. Only the baby's in the womb, right? If you have a baby there in the womb, right? Things just enter here, this part, right? So there are glands here, right, by the sides here, okay, and of course there's a lot of fluid inside here, right, where the womb is, a lot of fluids here. Okay, these are the parts whereby the discharge that is you will be counted as the inner privates. Okay, the inner privates are from here, right, and they tend to be smelly, or they tend to have a color because they're mixing with the blood a little bit, or they'll be like stretchy and abundant, or they're pungent because they're washing out the fluids from the womb. So they're like more on the inner side, right? So to draw an example, right? They are like, how with our mouth, right? We got saliva in our mouth. If you go deeper in, you find vomit, right? So fluids that come from the stomach, right? They tend to be smelly. They tend to be, colored, right? Sometimes they tend to be of a different texture, and they tend to be in abundance, right? That come from the stomach, right? But on the mouth, it's light, it's not so smelly. There is a smell to it, but it's not so smelly. It's colorless, or it's white and so on, right? So I'm not saying that what's in your womb is like vomit and what's outside here is like saliva. No, I'm saying the ruling of it. So you can understand it in that way. You can understand in that way why there are two fluids. Right? One's from the inner part of the body, and one's from the outer part of the body. All right. So the outer part of the body here is nothing. It does not nullify your wudu, and it's not najis, and it's normal. It's always there. Right. The one that's on the inside of your body, right? That's the one that's the problem. Right. That it is najis, and it does nullify your wudu. Okay. I hope that is clear. Okay, one thing I want to mention, right, is about the menstrual cup. I spoke about it in my class, right, and I want to just clarify what it is. So basically, you can Google it, a menstrual cup. You can just find it. There are products online. So basically, I'm going to draw a bigger. A menstrual cup is basically like a cup. It's basically a cup made of silicone, right, and it's inserted right here. The menstrual cup is inserted right here, right? So you actually fold it into half because it's silicone, right? It can be folded. Then you push it through your privates, right? This is why I mentioned that for someone who's not married or a virgin, you might find using this hard as how you might find using a tampon hard, right? Because or difficult because it's you don't actually open that area, But for someone who's married, you're having intercourse, or you've had intercourse, or you have had children, you've given birth, right? Is that area there should have been used to being expanded, right? To allow for things through, right? Either a baby through or so on, right? So basically, this menstrual cup is folded, it's silicone, and it's pushed through, right? And so basically. Yeah, basically that's it lah. Right? And so what this menstrual cup does is that it sits at the opening of the cervix, right? So any fluids from the womb fall into it, right? And it prevents the fluids from coming out of the vagina. So fluids here also fall into it. So this is a kind of like a very good way, right, to hold your discharge. If you're always having a discharge problem, this cup actually holds the najis discharge. It does, right? So for me, I personally use it, right? And you can find that they have what they call menstrual cups, menstrual discs. You can do your own research, right? And you can go and like see all different types, but I will say that, not every woman is comfortable with it, right? So for me personally, I am okay with it. Right? And I think it saves me a whole lot of money, mashallah, right? Because you just stop buying sanitary pads, right? Because it's washable, it's reusable, it's washable. And I've not bought a sanitary pad for years now, right? Because of this, because it's just washable, so it's environmental and it's easy. Yani. Allahu A'lam. Right. So I'm not pushing it, but I'm just speaking about it, right? In case anyone wants to consider it, especially for Umrah, right? If you want to go for Umrah, you want to keep your wudu, right? This is a possibility because it does hold the discharge. Just to make sure that the menstrual cup does not stick out of your privacy, meaning that if you were to wipe yourself from below, you will not be able to feel it. It's all inside of you. It has to be completely inside of you, right? I know it sounds a bit scary, but it's okay. Okay, let me just erase all of this. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Right, let me just go on to the next slide. How do I get my cursor back? How do I get my cursor back? Okay, tamam. Okay, right. So when you go to the next slide, right? So I mentioned the outer parts have its attributes, right? It's compulsory to wash during istinja. What is istinja? It is to wash your body after you go to the bathroom, right? And the compulsory bath, you need to wash it as well. In the compulsory bath, it's part of your body, right? When you squat, it actually opens up. When you squat, it opens up. So the discharge from this part, it has no color or it's white, right? Either white or no color. Slight smell, small amount, and it curdles. It comes in curdles. You see curdles meaning clots. Okay. Right, or it is like sweat. It says, fluid as sweat, right? From the inner parts, what is deeper into the pelvis, right? Drew just now around the cervix or from the womb. So it either meaning can have one or more of these attributes, one or more, right? This one will be, it must have all of these attributes to be counted as the one on the outer, right? So it's either color, right? So color has a color that is not white. Okay, right. So either there's a color that's not white, meaning that it's off-white or it's beige or it's yellow or green, whatever, right? Or it's pungent, or it is pungent. It's extremely smelly, right? To the point you can smell it from not even going near, right, the fluid, or stretchy, right? Stretchy here meaning that like egg whites. I would say like egg whites, like uncooked egg white, right? Okay, here class of this would be like uncooked chicken fat, okay, or like sweat, right? Or abandoned, right? There's also an or of it being abandoned, right? So pungent, stretchy. Like I could, well, I'll put one more here just to cover one more side of this, or abandoned, or it smears, right? It smears like yogurt. It smears, meaning it has there's no physicality, in that you can't pick it up. You can't pick it up. Like uncooked chicken fat, right? This like clots, right? You can pick it up. You can actually pick it up. It then smears like yogurt. Like so in a sense, this is how you're gonna tell the difference between the end of your menstrual blood, right, and the discharge that comes thereafter. Okay, so we're gonna speak about it in a while. Okay, so if you're unsure, then what is the asal? What is the origin? Then it is that it is pure. Right? If you're unsure, if you're looking at it, you're like it's not clear because you see that the one from the inner part, right, that is clear. Either has a color, that's clear. Pungent, that's clear. Stretchy, that's clear. Abundant, that's also a clear sign, right? Or it smears like yogurt, and it's not usually that there is an amount, right? Right, usually, right? Um, um see, substantial, okay, substantial amount, right? It's a substantial amount, so it's not a small amount, but it's like a substantial amount that comes out. Okay, right, so it's just be sure, right, that the thing went down. How to bring it up? Tamam. Let's see, went all the way down. Okay, tamam. Allah, ya Allah. Okay. Right. So the answer, okay, must I keep checking? Right, only if you've had something or done specific activities, then you need to check. And I go into what specific activities you need to check it for. All right. Tamam. So then this is the last slide here. Okay, there's not like that. There's one more slide thereafter. The slide here whereby I go into the different types, right? So basically this slide gives you the ruling. Okay? This slide is the ruling. The slide after that is the other attributes, general attributes of what is najis and what is not najis. This slide tells you the different types of discharge that happens to a woman, right? And the corresponding attributes to the different types of discharge. Okay? And these are the only types of discharge that we actually experience. There's no other types of discharge besides these types. Right? So the first types are the inner privates, right? Their colors tend to be between white to yellow, or colorless. They tend to come in abundance, right? From the inner privates in abundance. You can even say now in abundance, right, they tend to be very pungent, right? Pungent. So inner private, you will say it, as well as the womb, lah. Let me put also womb. Why is it not doing that? Okay, right, or the womb, right? It's pungent, right? Watery. This one comes out in abundance. This usually comes out, I will tell you, after your menses. It comes out in abundance, washing out your womb, right? But it tends to be colorless, right? So it's not part of menses. It tends to be colorless. For some women like myself, right? This watery one, it actually comes out as yellow, right? Or it comes out even sometimes slightly brownish. So that will be counted as part of my menses because in a sense it's washing out the remnants of menses, right? So for me, like that watery one, sometimes it comes out colorless. So that's really my tuhur, right? I'm really clean, right? But if it comes out as brownish a little bit, yellow, then it's basically washing out the remnants of menses. Therefore, it takes the ruling of menses, right? Especially if it's within the 15 days. But if it's outside of the 15 days, then it takes on the ruling of istihada and we'll go through it, inshallah. So it usually happens after menses. Like the thick and stretchy one, right? There's like egg white, right? That one is uncooked egg white. I mean uncooked egg white, uncooked one. Right? That happens during ovulation usually, right? And it comes in a lot. It just keeps coming out, right? So it's najis nullifies wudu. If you are in a part of your cycle whereby it really comes out all the time and you cannot anticipate it, right? It happens to me as well, right? And this is the thing why it's always the best that women teach women this subject because we're all going through it. We're all in the same same boat. We're all going through it, right? So I'm just giving a lot of examples from my own experience with all of these things, but and also looking at it from the eye of fiqh, right? From the eye of law in Islam, right? But for me, it happens to me as well. Like that, you could very well just finish doing your istinja. I mean, just wash yourself down there. Then you're doing your wudu, right? And it could be like during your wudu, it comes, or you just finish wudu and you're putting on your prayer garment and you're about to give takbir and khalas, it comes, right? And it's a lot of discharge, right? And it's not the one that's the clean one. It's the najis one, and it nullifies wudu and so on. If that's happening to you in parts of your cycle, right? So as one of the women who was present, she asked about this. So I said to her, is considered as a woman on continuous hadath. Right, a woman on continuous hadath, right? So daimul hadath, right? They are on continuous hadath. So they take the same ruling as someone on incontinence, like continuous urination, or someone on istihada, continuous blood, or someone on continuous gas, right? Always letting out gas. And these are people who are unable to control, the letting out of these things, and they can't tell when it will come. So basically you fall under that, right? Someone who has continuous discharge. So for this person, when they perform wudu, all they have to do is they go under the ruling of those on continuous hadas, and there's an entire chapter on it that's coming up. But just to say it, right now, that someone who finds themselves in this position, the ruling applies onto you, right? That you can only perform wudu when the prayer time has come in, right? When you perform wudu, you have to intend permission to perform the fardu prayer, very specific permission to perform the fardu prayer. Okay, that's your intention when you perform wudu at the point of washing your face. Right? I seek, Ya Allah, I seek permission to perform the fardu prayer. Then she needs to perform the prayer immediately after she has performed wudu and not do anything else, except if she's waiting for a jama'ah, like a congregation. She perform the prayer immediately or as fast as soon as she can. Right? She's allowed to pray one compulsory prayer and as many sunnahs as she wants and touch the Quran, read the Quran and whatsoever if she wants to, but only one fardu prayer. So if she wants to do a qada, she has to do the wudu again, right? And if another prayer time comes in, she has to do the wudu again, right? In that way. Okay, so all the laws of those on continuous hadas, which I will go through inshallah with slides. Right now I'm just saying it, right? But I will come with slides about these things in future lessons. Okay. Now, and that's the first one. So we're done with the first one, the first type of discharge. Okay, so this one you see it is cyclic, right? It is cyclic. If I were to draw the cycle of a woman, I would highlight the days after menses to have the watery one. Then I will highlight her day 13, 14, right, to have the ovulation one. Okay, the stretchy one. Right. So in a sense, it is cyclic. It comes only in some parts of your menses, not all the time. Right. And therefore, on the days whereby it's coming, right, those are probably the days you can't keep wudu, right? They're going to be the days where you're unable to keep wudu. If you really want to keep wudu, then you got to put in the menstrual cup. I don't know of any other way, right, to stop discharge. I really don't, right? And tampons don't count because tampons have a string that is dangling out from it, right? That makes you someone who is always carrying najis, right? So you can't use tampons, right? So to hold discharge, the only solution is menstrual cup. Right? If you want to hold it, otherwise just keep doing istinja for every fardu prayer. But they happen only in a part of the cycle. If I were to draw the woman's cycle, right, I would draw it that way. Should I just draw it here? Let me just draw it for a while, okay? Very fast draw it. Since I discovered that I can draw using this I can draw using this tool. Okay, so basically, if I were to draw the woman's cycle, it's day one of menses. How I do in your biology books, right? Then they will go like this circle. You know how they do in the biology books. Okay. And they say this is day one of menses, and here is day seven. I don't know if you all remember our biology days. Okay, anyway, I'm doing the highlighter, okay? Highlighter, okay, red. Okay, so menses, right? Okay, so what I would say the watery one would probably appear. Let me use yellow, okay? It will appear here. Okay. I'm using yellow, it's not to say it's going to be yellow. It could be white. It could be, it's colorless. But it's here after menses, whatever your menses days are, 7 or 10 or 14, but basically it comes here. There's the watery one. Okay, watery one. Okay, the thick one, let me use green, I guess. Purple, lah. Okay, purple. It happens like really around mid-cycle, right? Because it happens when you're ovulating. Right, let me just draw it out. Okay, ovulation. Okay, ovulating, like, so it's around like you say the 14th day, 13th day of your cycle is when you ovulate, right? So you find that, so you're fertile, as if you're trying for a child, that's your fertile days, right? And you can try for a child, right? If you're trying to avoid being pregnant, then probably from the point your menses ends to the point you ovulate, you should not basically have intercourse that's unprotected if you don't want to get pregnant. Basically, Allahu Alam, and Allah is the one who decides everything, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nam, right? So then after the ovulation, right? Like usually it's clear, Like usually you have nothing, like basically nothing, expect nothing until like maybe prior to your menses, right? You might experience some extra discharge, right? Smelly discharge around here, like some, right? But it's still white, right? So only when you see a color, and there has been 15 days of being of prayer, and the moment you see a color, meaning a color that's not white, like yellow or brown or whatsoever, then your menses has begun. It's something that most women are heedless of. They don't realize that a color, after 15 days of clean is actually your next menses, your next cycle. It's not, istihala, it's not discharge. No, it's actually the beginning of the next menses. It counts. It counts. Okay, let me erase all of this. Okay, tamam. Naam. Okay, so is it drawing? Okay, tamam. Right, okay, the next one is madi. Okay, madi is very distinct when you're aroused, right? So if a person has ever been aroused, which I think most women have been, if you're an adult, you would have. It's natural. It's a natural thing to happen to a woman, to be aroused. So if you're aroused, and there was a color, and like you will notice this, you will be wet. You'll be very wet, right? At your privates, it's colorless, it's abundant, it's pungent, it's thick and stretchy, right? Usually of this trace, it is najis and nullifies wudu. Okay, wadi is something from inside the womb. is from inside the womb, right? It comes out because of activities, heavy activities, right? So when you're walking a lot, you're carrying heavy things, right? So usually it will come out from inside your womb. That is why for a woman who is pregnant, she's told not to carry heavy things, right? Because it's having a pressure on the womb, right? Or like a stress on the womb. Right, so it comes out. It's usually a fairly large amount, not so small, like fairly large, and it smears. Is the thing about it, it smears. But the biggest clue that it has come out is this, right? The activities. Okay, on the outer privates, right? On the outer privates, it's either white. So basically, it's all white or colorless, because but I know some people, they keep saying they have yellow. Yellow is always from the inside, right? Because yellow has to be tainted by the womb, right? So small amount from the outer private, like smell, it comes out in clumps, clots or clumps, or like sweat. Small amount, right? It's always there, right? It's like saliva, it's always there. It's not najis, it's not nullify wudu. Money comes out during orgasm. So money is very, very, very specific and distinct. You will not miss it. Trust me, you will not miss it. Right. So if someone has experienced, orgasm, in their life, they will know what it is, right? So it's a sexual high, right? It happens when people are having intercourse, right? And sometimes happens in your sleep. Right? It could possibly happen that it happens in your sleep, right? And so you wake up knowing you're in junub, right? So mani is a sexual fluid. It's not an arousal fluid, it's a sexual fluid. It's a very small amount. Distinct smell of, they say it smells like egg white, right? Allahu Alam, I've never smelled it, right? But it's this very small amount, it's a distinct smell, it's watery, it's a sexual high. It comes in spurts. You'll actually feel your muscles going in spurts, and the muscles of the privates like going in spurts. It will go like in that way. Right, I hope I hope I'm not too detailed, but basically this is all ilmu, it's all ilm, it's knowledge, right, for us to be clear. So in Arabic they say the fa, right, which means the fa meaning like it goes like in that way, right? You will know when you're sensing it, right? It's not najis. Money is actually not najis. People are surprised. Money is not najis because human beings are created from it, and human beings are not najis, right? It's not najis, right? But it brings a person into major hadath, right? But of course, Allahu alam, as a woman, I don't know how money comes out without madhi. They usually come out together. Like someone gets aroused first and then she goes into an orgasm. But it's possible that she gets an orgasm without getting aroused. Allahu Alam. I don't know. Right, but for all I know, they as much as I know, they come together. Right. So there's always the madhi around to make things all najis. Anyway. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Let me just continue here. So basically, the last part of this lecture, I went through questions, right? So questions to ask yourself: have I done any physical activity or sexual activity, right? Or did I feel any discharge flowing out? If you did not do any physical activity nor sexual activity and you do not feel any discharge flowing out, then you have wudu. Khalas, don't have to check. You don't have to check. Right? Don't check. Like, have yaqeen. Okay. But if yes, I did some heaviest physical activity, I had some sexual activity, for example, and I felt, or without either physical non-sexual activity, I did feel something coming out, right? Flow coming out. And I know, and usually you can even tell from which point in your cycle you're at. Oh, am I ovulating? Oh yeah, I should be ovulating right now. Like, in a sense, you can even be more aware of your body, right? So you know you're ovulating, or you just finished menses, or your menses is coming, in a sense. So be very aware of your body, as women. It is something that should be on us. You should be aware of your body. So you go and check. You check, is there color? If yes, khalas, najis nullifies food. Color meaning yellow or whatever of colors, right? I'm not talking about whites, okay? I'm talking about other colors. Okay, is there a color? You say no, it's white, or it's colorless. There's no color. Okay, continue. Is there a pungent smell? Oh, yes, pungent. Okay, then it's najis nullifies wudu. You say, no, 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 there's no pungent smell. Next question. Is it stretchy or it smears? I mean, does it have is it is it solid? Is it like semi-solid? If it's semi-solid, it's not najis, eh? It's from the outer. Is it like, watery? Is it stretchy? Smears? Right, najis So if it's stretchy and it smears in an amount, yes, najis is nullifies wudu. And you know what? You just make dua. I tell you, trust me, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will let you figure this out. If you're still confused, right? If you're still confused, you ask Allah to give you an opening, right, an understanding. Like, and for me personally, that was my experience when I first learned it. I was like, huh, what? And then you keep trying to figure it out, figure out, but after a while, it becomes so, you get so pro at it. I guess it is the word you use. But you get so, proficient, you get so good at it that you look at a discharge, you're like, I know what it is. I know it's not najis. I know it's najis. And you end up being able to keep your wudu longer because you have knowledge and you have yaqeen. You can keep your wudu, mashallah. And that's the best part, right? You can keep your wudu, right? So just be very clear about it, mashallah. Okay, naam. So I've done the part where that we went through this past week, right? And these are the rulings and so on, right? Let me just go into the questions here. Okay. Let me just move my screen. Okay. So, okay, I'm only going to put chapter 1, chapter 2, okay? All right. So, I went through these questions last time around. But there are a few more questions that appeared. Let me just do the discharge questions first, okay? I very quickly discharge questions. Right. So, mm, okay. So yeah, money is not najis, by the way. Right? It brings you to Mejihalas, but money is not najis. Right? Just be very clear. Okay. Discharge from the womb. Right. So if it's from during ovulation, yes, it's najis. Right? It's at the neck of the womb. Yes, it's najis. It's stretchy. See the what do you call this? The trait of being stretchy. Right? So I put yes. Yes, it is najis because it is stretchy and from the inside of the privates. Okay? Because you yourself said it's from the inside. So if you know for sure, like, all these attributes, right? They are from the inside. Why I cannot send? Okay. All these attributes, they're from the inside. You see, so when you learn the attributes, right, is to figure out, is this from the inside of my privates or from the outside of my privates? But if you know for sure is a cervical plug is from the inside, definitely najis. Definitely. You don't even have to talk about characteristics because by definition, what's from the inside is najis. What's from the outside is not najis, right? And this definition. So all these attributes is just to help us figure out what's from the inner privates and what's from the outer privates. That's all it is. If it does not fit any of the attributes that I spoke about, it doesn't matter because you know it's from the inner privates. You get it, eh? Right, so even without you telling me any of these things, you just telling me that it's from the neck of the womb, right? Straight away, I don't have to care about any of its characteristics. I know it's from the inner because you're telling me it's from the inner privates. Okay, I have clear discharge. Exiting most of your time, should you know your wudu before your prayer? No, no. Okay, no. Don't have to check it. Right? This will be the normal one. You'll be the normal one. The one that's not najis and does not nullify wudu. Okay? All right. Unless it's pungent, then the same attributes, pungent or abundant and so on. Right. So if it's yellow, straight away it's najis. You gotta wash yourself and take a wudu again. Yes, you must renew your wudu if it's yellow. The moment it's yellow, you have to renew your wudu. Don't feel anything, then there's no check. If you feel, then you check. Okay. Now, okay, so just basically uh check for color and smell and abundance, right? So if it's clear and it's like small amount, there's very mild smell and so on, there's high chances it's not najis, doesn't break your wudu. Right? This one yellow, it is najis, breaks your wudu. If it's white, then it's not, if it's a small amount, right? Um, yeah. So here, if you watch a sexual scene, right, and there is some wetness in the form of clear white discharge, okay, if you can feel the wetness, high chances it is madhi, right? It is madhi. It's not money, right? High chances it's not money, right? Money, you actually go into they call it an ecstasy, right? Or a sexual high, they call it orgasm. There are different words of saying about the money. High chances if you can feel the wetness is madhi. Is madhi. Okay? That is madhi. right? So it's basically najis, and it brings you into minor hadas. So basically wudu and no need to bathe. Okay, right? Hope that's clear. Okay, right? So question here, right? So basically, I answered, right? If you don't feel anything out, you feel sweat all the time. Usually, it could be your sweat, right? It could be your sweat, or it could be shaitan messing with you. Shaitan can also make you feel wet all the time, right? Don't have to see, don't have to check, right? So you don't feel anything, you have to check, right? If you have not done any physical activities, right? But if you walk for an hour or so on, there is physical activity, you should check. Okay. Um Okay, here see what she said, right? She said fertile, getting heavier discharge. So high chances ovulation. Right? Can you all pinpoint right now? Is ovulation. All right. So uh you know uh right. So I'm just going to read what I answered. Okay. So basically, on your fertile days, the discharge is stretchy and said, therefore, it nullifies because it is from inside the womb. You must clean yourself and replace the liner, right? Because it's najis. It's najis. You must change it and you must istinja as well and do your wudu again, right? So, how do you know whether it's in and outer? We went through that the entire lesson. Okay. So, as you mentioned, just refer to the slides. Okay. So, after sexual intercourse, right, discharge. Did I answer this? Naam. Right. So I just mentioned to the person that so she keeps getting a lot of discharge after intercourse, right? So high chances is from the inside, right? It's from the inside. It's najis is from the inside, right? And then if it's continuous, you have to intend istibaha. Okay, istibaha meaning permission, permission to perform the compulsory prayer. Okay, outer discharge. Like they're actually very different. So I don't know how she means by the white discharge curdles. You feel like that's the egg that comes out during ovulation. They're completely different. If you look at uncooked egg white, it does not curdle. Look at uncooked egg white. It does not curdle. It cannot curdle, right? So it can't be the same. And it's not even white. Uncooked egg white is not white. It's colorless. So they're completely different things. So I'm not so sure how this person thinks they're the same. They're very different. One is white, one is colorless. One comes out in foam and curdles. One is fluid and stretchy, right? So I actually make it clear. Right? It's very different. It's very different, right? So the white clumps, they don't stretch. They're not nudges, right? They're white. The other one they stretch. They're colorless, right? It's very different. I put it they're very different. So you should be able to tell them okay, this person, someone told her the wrong information that all discharge, no, it's not all discharge, unfortunately. There's this wrong information, right? But just say follow the chart carefully, right? And in fact, when you train yourself on this, you get used to it after a while, and you can tell what is najis, what's not najis, right? Okay, answer if you feel during prayer najis is coming out, don't stop praying because it could be pure. So your asal, right, or your original state is purity, right? So you don't stop praying because it could be pure, right? And then after you pray, you can go and check if you want to, right? So I mentioned this also, okay, about money not najis. So a lot of people were confused about that. Money is not najis, mashallah. Um, Okay, if you wanna be safe, it's up to you, right? But we go to fiqh, right, as clarity, right? Especially when you have no choice. Okay. Okay, something about menstrual cups, right? 'Cause instead of istihada, use a menstrual cup to make it easier. Yes, yes. When I get istihada also, I do use a menstrual cup to maintain my wudu. And when you use a menstrual cup, you can intend tahara, like for the prayer, because you're holding up the istihada, right? So you can do it. You can. Okay. And I spoke about the menstrual cup, right? Colors of discharges. Okay, we went through it again, right? So we have gone through it again in my explanations, right? If it's not clear, just post it up again. Okay. Transparent discharge still continues najis. No, it's not. Right? It's not najis. That's not nullify your wudu. Okay. Tamam. Right. So when you're in prayer, during your ruku, you feel fluid, watery coming out from vagina. This is a very important point, right? Did not do any intercourse, nothing, normal things. What has happened? Usually, and the answer here I explained in one of my classes before someone answered for me, right? It is correct. Basically, when you do istinja, right, and you wash your privates has a habit of absorbing the water. The water is absorbed by the private. So water of the istinja, it means the water that you're using is absorbed by the privates. So when you pray, sometimes that water is released. That water is pure, it's nothing, it's just water. It's not even discharge. It's not even discharge, okay? It's just water. And it usually comes when you ruku'. When you ruku', when you sujood, it usually comes then, right? So it's very fluid, very watery. There's no smell, it's nothing, right? Remember, there's no smell, right? Remember the one that's watery has a very pungent smell. Like the one that is watery and has no smell, you know what it is? It's not even discharge. It's water, right? So basically, and it happens very clearly after istinja. Right? And it happens like sometime after istinja, then the vagina lets go of it, right? That's what you're feeling. That's not discharge at all. It's just water, right? Yeah, I just I clarified, right? A pregnant lady can have menses. Oh, mashallah. So many people don't know about this. Mashallah. Um, right. When you're experiencing menses, what's the ruling of menses? Ruling of menses. Did it go? Mm, mm. Right. So basically, I think I moved it, is it? Can you let me just go to that one? Right. Ruling of menses is no prayer. You cannot pray. Right. There's a law of menses. When we say istihada, yes, then you must pray. When I say the word menses, it means no prayer. Okay, things are specific in its definition. So when I say bleeding, it could be one of the three, right? When I say bleeding could be menses, could be nifas, could be istihada. But when I say the word menses, clear, menses, laws of menses, which is what? No prayer, no fasting, right? No touching the Quran, no reading the Quran, and so on, right? That's clear loss of menses, okay? Right? So there's no such thing as menses and pray. No such thing as that. Istihada and pray, yes. But there's no such thing as menses and pray. Which is why some of the questions I saw, they say, why if I'm having menses for 20 days? There's no such thing as menses for 20 days. No such thing. By definition, it must be less than 15 days. Okay, understand that, right? Right. So when you're having menses, it's menses. Therefore, no salat, no prayer. Tamam. I hope people are clear about this. Um, right? I hope there's no confusion. It's clear. It's basically menses in pregnancy. That's all it is. It's normal menses. So you don't pray, you don't fast. You know, you're in menses. Now, okay, I think I missed a few questions up there. Let me see. Allah. Let's see. Okay, then we went through that. Okay, here. Discharge after sexual activity without penetration. Uh, Okay, sorry. If it's arousal madi, as clear as it is, right? Mani comes in specific characteristics, so you just have to just know what's coming out, right? From the description, right? It's very clear in description. Um, have you had the same discharge? Of course, it can be money. Money. Okay, let me be very very clear. Money is not common. You shouldn't be having money all the time. Money is specific sexual high, and even sometimes people having sexual intercourse might not even have money, right? It's because it comes with an orgasm, right? So many women go through sexual intercourse with no orgasm, right? Anyway, no sexual high anyway, right? So money is something very rare. I mean, not rare, but in a sense, it's not normal, okay, to have money all the time. So you never think you have money, you have money. No, 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 please don't. Right? Mildly sexual arousal. So it's all clear. You know, like every person should know if you are sexually aroused. You should know. Come on. Right? So it's not abundant, not from the how you know it's not from the outer. Like what is the characteristics that is not from the outer? You should to inform me. Because for right now I'm seeing it that it is from the outer. From what you're describing to me, right? It's from the outer. If you're telling me there's a color, then khalas, it is under color, it is najis. If you're telling me it has a smell, so what is making you think it's not from the outer? What's making you think that? Right? So I say I look at the trace and see if where it falls. Okay, I just mentioned that, right? But from what you're describing to me, right, there is no reason for you to not think that it's not from the outer, unless you give me more attributes, right? Or look at the attributes, right? So it's very vague. Your question is very vague. Um, right. So again, same question, right? You see that it checks out all the boxes for the outer privates and not anything else, right? Yet you feel that it does not come out from the outer privates. Why not? Like, why not? If it checks out all the boxes, it's from the outer lah. MashaAllah. Okay, right. Then it's not najis lah, right? Not najis to have to throw a party liner also. It's not najis. It has a ruling of sweat. The ruling of sweat. You don't have to throw it out. Alas, it's not najis. It's not doesn't nullify wudu. It's you're fine. You're fine. Okay. Now my correct. So basically, Alhamdulillah. And I answered the questions here. Or I okay. Usually, if anyone answers the questions, if you don't see me confirming it, just wait for me to confirm it. Okay. Right. So I've answered the parts of here, the types of blood. Naam. Okay. Let me see. Right. Basically, you can go through it. And maybe I will. Let's see. I think last time now I can't remember where I stopped. Right. But I usually will respond, and you can see my responses there, right? About miscarriages and so on. I think there was one that I didn't respond. Is it here? Okay, so was in by 24 hours flow, brown spotting 8 a.m., normal blood until next day, right? And then the same again next few days, and then is this and the actual flow comes. The whole thing is menses, right? So yes, correct, right? Correct, right? Menses from the beginning of spotting, right? If you already had 15 days of purity, right? Basically that, right? So don't separate them. Don't separate them. The first brown spotting or red, that's already menses. It's already menses. Even if there's a gap for 1 day, doesn't matter. The whole time is menses. Okay, all right. Let's to go here a little bit, right, on the responses. Okay, this is questions here, right? Um, sorry. Summary. Let me see. How am I going to do this? Yeah, okay, never mind. Let's do it this way. Tamam. Right. Let me open up this thing. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so I guess where most people got it right, I'm just gonna skip it. I guess it's clear, right? So you should get the answers there, right? For 1, 2, and then 3. Most of you did it well, mashallah. Okay, here some of you put istihada, right? So continuous bleeding for 3 months. If continuous bleeding for 3 months, it's a mixture, right? There can be menses and istihada in there. It's a mixture. Okay, menses and istihada. Okay, and I'll explain it inshallah in the future. Okay, this is a big one that most people got it wrong because they don't know that menses can happen during pregnancy. It can. Right, and the rulings of menses apply in Islam. Right. Okay. If she saw white clump, small amount, no small smell, no strong smell, it's not najis. Doesn't nullify wudu. Right. So the 24 people who think that it's najis, it's not. Okay. So there's a whole point of learning. So you get clarity. Mashallah. Right. So it is. So again, right. This one, right. A lot of discharge flowing out is pungent. This is the thing here. Pungent najis. Okay. Right. Same thing. She kissed her, husband kissed her, right? Sexual activity. Right. It is a sexual activity. Right. Immediately there was a response, right? Meaning Madi. Looking at Madi. Okay. It's not money. How could it be money? Right? Because there's no, it's thick, it's stretchy, colors, pungent. These are all the signs of Madi. Money is what? Thin, small amount. And so on, right? And he has a sexual high and so on, right? Cannot be money. And can't be wadi. What did she do? She didn't walk. She didn't carry anything. I said can't be wadi either. Okay, right? Tamam. So istihada, discharge. So she was on istihada. I already said she's on istihada. She's not on menses. She's on istihada for 5 days with continuous brown discharge. Right. So when she was doing istinja, she saw that it is now white. What must she do? Just perform wudu and pray. There is no need for a bath. Okay. The last question here, right? Not feeling anything at all. Must she check? No, she does not have to check. Okay. Tamam. Okay, barakallahu fikum. I will stop there for today. Inshallah, I will upload this. And see you on Sunday, inshallah. So basically, from now on Sunday, I will still teach and I have it on Zoom and the dua, the internet is okay, and I'll just try to figure out to install a stronger internet. At the same time, also, I will still do a screen recording like this. I'll do a screen recording during the lesson itself. So if the internet acts up, and does not connect properly, I will just upload the lesson itself without having to redo the lesson because it takes my time to redo the lesson. Okay, Barakallahu fikum. Any questions, please post it on the Padlet. I apologize if I was yani insensitive or harsh in my answers. I apologize in my tone of voice sometimes. Apologize for all of that. Please keep us in your du'as. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. الفاتحة أن الله يرزقنا منافعا وعملا خالصا مقبول وحسن التعليم دل الهدى ويسر بكم النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأرواح مؤمنين مشايخنا وذوي الحق علينا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. Kita mau next lesson this. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.